what we would consider a wealthy school, which is a very normal school where you are, compared to a community school where people might only pay, $10 a term to attend and things like that. There's a big difference. But schooling, I wanted to tell you, is a privilege. It's not a right. So if you have money, if you can afford to go to somewhere like McDonald's, you're actually doing okay. Or even to go and buy a coffee, and a coffee's say $5. My country, if you can afford to do that, you're doing okay. But we work with those who are very needy, very poor financially and things like that. So schools, let me tell you a little bit about the schools there. So an average public school, you would start school at about 6:30 in the morning, and then you would finish about 5:30 at night, and you get to go to school on Saturdays. And Saturdays only go to 1 o'clock, and you don't usually have to wear uniform, so that's pretty good. But long school days, in fact, if you go to boarding school, which I have quite a few girls in our girl project who go to boarding school, they get up at 4 in the morning and work till 10 o'clock at night, and they go to school on Sundays after church. That is very normal life. Now, we have 3 terms in a year with a midterm break in between. So in our part of the world, what we do is go from primary to secondary school. You have an exam, a national exam, and that determines where you'll go. So if you go, oh, I would really like to go to school X, Y, and Z. So you list those down, and if you get good grades, the school will call you and say, we want you. Otherwise, it's just potluck of what you get. So if you can't afford to pay school fees. I know in your country that school fees, even though they're suggested, it's not mandatory. So in our part of the world, if you don't have the shoes, a pencil, a book, haven't paid your school fees, any one of those, they say you are chased home. So you must leave the school and not come back until then. So this is Daniel. Daniel is a Masai warrior. And Masai are one of the tribes in Kenya. And he has started this school called Karantos Sunshine School. And this is what it was like at the beginning. Then we gave them some school toilets. Then we gave some water tank and guttering. And this year we gave them some more. But it's just the start of it. Now these little kids, most of them are the first time in their generation of their family to ever go to school. And they will often walk about 3 to 5 kilometres to come. And here is Alan, a New Zealander. Alan came to install some water tank and guttering with us, and he's a farmer from New Zealand, like I said. And Alan, this is what happened. It's a thank you gift for Alan. One thing we always do in our health programs when we build school toilets and things like that is we try and teach about the importance of hand washing, which we know is very important, but a lot of us aren't good at it. But we also have So medical centres, yes, we do have big hospitals, and people tend to go to a hospital rather than the GP like you and I would go to when you're back in your home country there. They go to hopefully a clinic where things are cheap, but medical care is not very good. You might line up for 6 to 8 hours in a hospital, even if it's an emergency, to get some medical care. And I've already told you a little bit what it's like, that you do actually have to pay all the way when you go. In our part of the world, it's very limited on medical care. So a lot of people who can afford to go, they'll go somewhere like India for cancer treatment and things like that. But they have very remote medical centres. And this is one about Goswani that I want to tell you about. And we've seen a little bit before, but Goswani is an incredible hospital. Taking some look at some photos. Dr. Tonya Hawthorne and her team, who work tirelessly to serve a community of 30,000 Masai people. Women walk 8 hours to come and give birth, have a cup of tea and walk home again. And for about the first 10 years, there was no running water or electricity in that hospital until Christ College in Christchurch in New Zealand fundraised some money, and we were able to put in some water tank and guttering, which is really cool. And to be able to show you a little bit of that water is amazing. And the night that this happened, Dr. Tonya said that was the only water in the community. One of the challenges are elephants. Elephants can smell water from 20 kilometres away. So we have to make sure whatever big water tanks we put in have to go underground, otherwise the elephants will break it up and things like that. A challenge for the ladies when they come to give birth is that they won't come at night because of elephants and buffaloes. They'll get attacked by them, or lions. It's a very rural area, and it's quite amazing there when you get an email saying, oh, a parent said he couldn't come today, bring his child because there are 200 elephants around his house. That's just a little bit different than what you and I have here in this home country. And I love driving out there, but the road, it's like a riverbed. It's like this, and you're shaking along. In fact, here's some video of a trip out to Goswani. So here we are on the way to a project. How's it going, Pete?
That'll be good when I get there. Now just look at this.
This is why we need to get our car fixed, which currently it is. But it's in the garage, so we hired this car. It's such a rip-off, but anyway. This is awesome. Hey, Pete.
Yep. And on the on the right-hand side here, we've got a new road, pinged up by the Chinese.
Flags here, thank you, China. Flags. This is very, very local. And this is why we spend so much money on our car. Coming up is what we really would love.
That's my vehicle. If anybody wants to donate me money to buy a vehicle like that, I'll be happy to receive. Trust me.
There's another one because it's on the way to the Mara. Whew. There we go, and that's just a little bit of our... Okay. Oh, now we can see where we're going. Oh, this is the road we're going on to get to Goswani. Whew.
That's just a bit.